Declaration of Independence is Belize's official instrument that declared Belize's independence from Great Britain. This document, while it might seem like an ordinary book, is what officially stated that Belize is no longer a colony of Great Britain and is a free and sovereign nation. It was handed over to the Right Honorable George Price by Prince Michael of Kent on September 21, 1981, Belize's very first Independence Day.
It is my very great privilege to hand to you these constitutional instruments, the symbol of your independence.
To put it simply, it's what the Speaker of the House of Representatives calls Belize's birth certificate.
When we have children, what makes it absolutely official is when it is registered. And so I refer to it as a birth certificate because that instrument is what has been officially lodged or registered in the parliamentary records that Belize is no longer a colony.
Out of that document, we ended up with our Constitution, which specifies how we are governed. In that document, you would see, for example, statements that speaks to the fact that laws that were going to be passed in the UK no longer applied to Belize. It provides for the provisions as to how we are to function as an independent nation.
Every year since 2020, the National Assembly has done something to commemorate Belize's independence. This year, it was decided that what is possibly our country's most important piece of legislation is once and for all properly preserved.
We decided that parliamentary records, such as the official instrument of independence that is housed at the National Assembly, should be stored properly and preserved in the Belize Archives and Records Service.
We recognize that they had the knowledge and the skill set and the space to preserve this document, but at the same time ensure that the document can also, or some replica aspect of the document, digitize the document, have the document copied in such a way that it can be stored and preserved, but at the same time the Belizean people can have access to it.
The National Assembly will be given a certified copy of the document with signatures that will be on display. This will be facilitated by the British High Commission in Belize. Madam Speaker explained that this has to be the case as the only other signed declaration of Belize's independence is the one that was signed in the United Kingdom's Parliament and remains in their archive.
The Instrument of Independence, like many things pre-independence that were official documents with signatures, there's one official copy, and it is in the official parliamentary archives of the United Kingdom. So what is handed over, as has been done, as we have been informed through the British High Commission, is not a duplicate copy. It is the original, although unsigned, because the signed one official copy is part of the official parliamentary record of the UK Parliament, in whose Parliament they had to bring that into effect.
Since 1981, the document has been stored in a safe in the office of the Clerk of the National Assembly of Belize, untouched. This probably explains why the pages of this 42-year-old document are almost perfectly still intact.
So, because it was kept without handling in that condition that was maintained there since 1981, it was well preserved. Right. You know, the only thing that we notice on the front page here is what you call foxing. All right, but then as you go in more into the original document, see, nice and clean.
The preservation process is far from simple. From testing the quality of the page to digital transformation, the staff of the Belize Archives and Records Service spent an entire month working on the document. In April of this year, the Belize Archives and Records Service was a beneficiary of the Government of Mexico's project to preserve historic archives in Latin America and the Caribbean. This particular equipment has since been used for digitizing historical documents.
We have the conditions, we have the expertise to be able to do the proper conservation interventions to them, to be able to bring the document to a state where we are able to digitize it and make it accessible to the public.
So why is this important to the Belizean public?
It is important for us to be able to preserve historical records. Archival documents give us the first-hand accounts of the history of Belize, of the development of Belize. And there is nothing more important than the actual birth certificate of Belize to be able to be preserved.
It's a part of our history. It's an important parliamentary record, and all parliamentary records need to be treated with the respect and the dignity, and also the importance to ensure that it can be used by generations to come.
Each Belizean must be able to know and appreciate how important this document is to their lives. They are a Belizean citizen because the nation state of Belize was created.
Instrument of Independence has now been properly cleaned, placed in a 4-flap acid-free jacket, has been digitally preserved. It's now being safeguarded in a fireproof safe in a repository of the Belize Archives.